Clara knew about the whispers of whispering pages, the bookshop that never stayed put. Grown-ups dismissed it as a silly tale, but Clara knew. She'd glimpsed it once tucked between the bakery and the boarded-up toy store, its windows glowing like warm honey. But when she'd blinked, it was gone. Then, weeks later, it appeared down a damp, ivy-covered alley she'd never noticed before. Always fleeting, always just out of reach. One drizzly Tuesday, feeling smaller than usual after forgetting her lines in the school play, Clara took the long way home. Turning down a narrow lane piled with autumn leaves, she felt a familiar prickle on her neck. There it was, not hidden in the alley, but where the alley ended, a solid brick wall moments ago, now replaced by the warmly lit facade of whispering pages. It looked ancient and welcoming, as if it had patiently waited for her. The brass bell chimed softly as she pushed the door open. The air smelled of dust, vanilla, and something like distant rain. Towering shelves groaned under the weight of books. A ginger cat blinked slowly from a velvet armchair. An old man with spectacles perched on his nose looked up from mending a spine. "Ah!" he murmured, his voice like turning pages. "Right on time." Clara froze. "You know my name." "Whispering Pages knows all its seekers," he said, gesturing around. "Mr. Pumble, at your service. Browse freely. The right story finds its reader." He returned to his work, humming. Clara wandered, fingertips brushing leather and cloth spines. She found a section marked Curiosities and Chronologies. One book, bound in deep blue leather with silver constellations, hummed faintly. She pulled it out. The title, embossed in shimmering silver, stole her breath. Clara and the Starlight Symphony. Her hands trembled. She flipped it open. The copyright page read first edition, printed 1947. 1947? That was decades before she was born. Heart pounding, she turned to the first chapter. It described her messy brown braids, the tiny star-shaped birthmark on her wrist, even her disastrous school play rehearsal that very afternoon. It detailed her walk home, the exact alley, and finding this book. She read aloud, her voice barely a whisper. Clara traced the silver constellations on the cover, a shiver of impossible recognition running through her. Mr. Pumble appeared beside her, peering at the book. "Ah, the Starlight Symphony, a rare one. Been waiting a long while, but how?" Clara stammered, pointing at the date. "This is about me, right now, but it's so old." Mr. Pumble adjusted his spectacles. "Time isn't always a straight line in places like this, my dear. Stories exist in seeds, waiting for the right moment, the right heart to bloom. That book," he tapped the blue cover gently, "contains a story meant for you. A story that began long ago, perhaps dreamed by someone else, but only truly comes alive now, with you holding it. It knew your name because it was always waiting for you to arrive." He led her to a reading nook by a window that now looked out onto a swirling nebula of stars instead of the rainy alley. "The shop moves," he explained, seeing her because stories belong everywhere and nowhere. "It finds the readers who need a little magic, a little nudge towards their own tale." Clara spent enchanted hours reading. The story wasn't just about her. It was for her. It spoke of hidden courage, finding her voice, and how even the smallest star shines brightly in the right darkness. It described her standing on stage again, her voice clear and strong, filling the hall like a symphony. When the shop bell chimed softly, a signal Clara knew her time was up. She closed the book, the silver constellations glowing faintly. "Can I?" Mr. Pumble smiled. "It found its reader. It goes where you go now. Remember, Clara, your story is still being written. This," he gestured to the book, "is just a particularly splendid chapter someone glimpsed early." Clara stepped back into the rainy alley, the blue book tucked safely under her coat. Behind her, where Whispering Pages had stood, was only solid, wet brick. But the warmth of the shop, the weight of the impossible book, and the melody of her own unfolding courage stayed with her. She touched the cover, feeling the faint hum. She knew the bookshop would move again, waiting patiently for its next seeker. And she knew, with absolute certainty, that her next chapter, especially the school play tomorrow, was going to be magnificent. She wasn't just Clara anymore. She was Clara, keeper of the Starlight Symphony, and her story was truly beginning.